Alrighty, hello everybody. Excuse me if I sound a little bit extra tired today. Another morning shift. And guess how long it fucking lasted? It lasted 7 fucking hours, and I feel like just driving off of the nearest cliff. But I'm back, I'm home. Kinda technically just got out of the shower as well, so there's that. But anyways, we have, quite a few things set up here. Just give me 1 second. Anyways, hello.
Hi. Anyway, so, Sanity, you wanna know how many tabs this bitch had open? Yes.
If it's any
She had
more than 3...
35.
I'm going to strangle you to death with hammers!
He seems not to be speaking.
I see, just lost her microphone, I guess. Anyways. Just so you know, we probably have 50... Close your fucking tabs! For the love of God!
I've told her, and she won't. She won't.
No, there's another person in chat who apparently has 50 fucking tabs open! How is your internet not fucking shitting itself?
Very creatively, apparently.
500 tabs.
500
Five.
tabs.
Yeah, exactly.
Beat you to it, finally.
Okay.
What are we doing? Well, I have a couple of interesting videos that are...
Drugs.
No, we're not... It's not that stream.
Anyway.
Anyways, why the fuck is... Excuse me, Excuse me? There we go, now it's working. Also, let me quickly get the live reaction. Perfect. Oh yeah, let's also get Tenna getting jiggy with it.
Eek.
Also, make sure that people can see what we're watching.
Well, yes, but also in the server. Let me. Also, let me quickly check how many views does the worst TikTok recipe. It has 90 fucking views in 3 days. It is scarily close to that 100 mark. Please, for the love of God, just keep it at 90.
Oh, wait, I forgot. What the fuck happens when it hits 100?
I have to recreate the foreskin banana.
It's gonna happen.
By the
Come
way,
on, chat. 10 more views. 10 more
By the
views.
way, I have seen where that is from. The whole hollandaise banana thing. That I originally saw. The Gay Vintage Baking Show did that.
Oh, Dylan Hollis apparently did the foreskin banana.
Yes, he did.
But, anyways, well, I can only imagine his verdict was it was complete, fucking ass.
It was cum? His verdict was cum?
No, that's not what I... I'm gonna kill you!
That's what he said. No, you can clip it, you can clip it and see it. That's what he said. That's what they said, that's what they said. I swear.
Anyways, there's this video, which, you know, I've been itching to take a look at. It's been out for, like, 6 days. And Amalgamated, at least in the server, will not shut the fuck up about it. So, we're gonna be taking a look at this. The SKyrim Unofficial... Oh my god, it's a fucking hour and a half. There's no way we're gonna get into all of it. Let's see here. How many... What are the chapters here? Patches announced. First, controversy, 4 minutes. Disagreements. Arthmore's finally banned. Why does the Wabbajack have its own section?
Why not?
Funny.
Okay, well, I am thoroughly intrigued now. But, anyways, we're gonna take a look at this. I also have, like, a thing of, like, just a full thing of chocolate chip muffins in front of me, because why the hell not? It was just a thing that, while we were doing inventory over at, like, another store that's, like, an hour away from here, you know, they just have, like, snacks and whatnot set up, and apparently there was just, well, one entire thing full of, full chocolate muffins. Weren't eaten, so I asked if I could just take it home, and they said yes, so I just have these as today's stream snack, because I literally have nothing else in the house. I have not had time to do, like, any grocery shopping this week. Hopefully I'll have time tomorrow. I seem to be off entirely tomorrow, so I should be fine.
Anyway, yeah.
But as of right now, my only form of sustenance is fucking chocolate muffins.
Can we skip this bit? This bit just seems like... Oh, we haven't started, okay.
You have 5 seconds.
I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention. I'm tired.
I didn't even start the fucking video yet. I was just
Well,
I was just bitching about my job. But anyways, let's be like BoJack and smash 12, then hate yourself. There's only 8 chocolate muffins in here, so I can't really do that. But anyways, speed up the video. Fucking fine. Alright. We'll go 1.25 to start off with and see if that works.
Oh, what's this? Oh, okay. I've seen this.
Well, that's at least a relief to see no AI was used in any part of the video. Fuck yeah, let's go.
Reassuring.
On July 26, 2011...
Let me turn down my background music just a tiny bit, because I think it's a little loud. There we go.
A modder going by Kevin opened a post to the official Bethesda forums by writing, quote, I spent over 2 years working on the unofficial Oblivion patch, unofficial Shivering Isles patch, and unofficial official mods patch, to the detriment of much else. They were a contributing factor to the loss of my spouse, career, house, vehicle, and possibly some sanity.
Possibly somewhat.
Heard of people doing that.
Possibly somewhat. Alright, but jokes aside, that is already quite the opening. Check stream discussion. What's in stream discussion? What's going on in there? AI visual novel. How about instead I...
Die.
How about instead I twist whoever made that's balls into a pretzel? How about that?
And I can't wait to get back on it. It's all good. She came back, and I'm much happier with just her without the rest of it, including the sanity. End quote. Kevin had spent years in the Bethesda games community building his reputation, and his return was heralded as a great boon by his peers. The replies to this post were littered with enthusiastic players preemptively thanking Kevin and Quarn for their efforts, the latter being another community member of repute who had agreed to join this new project. The pair were known for the niche practice of creating game modifications, colloquially called mods, for other players.
Okay, well, we didn't need to go that far into it, but you know what? Sure. for all 5 people watching a video about the unofficial Skyrim patch who apparently don't know what a mod is. I mean, you never know. You never know. Jesus, bro chose Skyrim over his relationship and health. That's some commitment. Holy fuck.
Imagine, though. Imagine.
Imagine, Lamau.
players to download and use to improve their game experience. Frequently, gamers with some relevant knowledge, or simply motivated gamers willing to study, will alter or add to a beloved game's code and content, and this
Might need to explain some things later in the video. Okay.
definition encompasses a wide breadth of possibilities. Some mods add new features to a game, while others tweak it.
Designated furry mod. Anyways.
Existing features like user interfaces and character upgrades. Kevin and Quarn, however, were known for creating the least exciting category: bug fixes. Coding errors in games are not only common, but nearly universal due to the complexity of such a task, and bug fixing mods for popular games are typically community efforts to help solve these problems that, usually for reasons of time or budget, go unsolved by the developers. Bug fix.
That's one
like I'm
thing
taking
that
a
I-
heist.
That's
I
like
feel like
one
I'm in
thing I
heist.
tend to notice with a lot of like Bethesda's games. It's like, you know, with like a lot of Bethesda's games, they just kind of ship it out as is. Maybe they'll do like 1 or 2 patches down the line, but it's like up to the community to basically just create mods and shit like that just to patch out the fucking games half the time. Or add in shit that should have been added in from the fucking get-go. And it's just kind of like... Thanks, Bethesda, for at this point, you might as well just hire the modders.
Yes.
Average Skyrim users, true. You're not playing Skyrim properly unless you have like 500 different mods.
Fixing mods also tend to be unintrusive, meaning that gamers looking to add new features to a game that they enjoy will often go out of their way to add bug-fixing mods as well, as a matter of course. These mods were particularly welcome for Bethesda's games. Bethesda Game Studios had built a strong reputation for creating immersive and accessible role-playing games, featuring large open worlds with a wide variety of content, but they were marred by a perennial problem. The massiveness of their designs left ample room for coding errors to be overlooked. While sometimes amusing, these bugs were more frequently problematic, often breaking the immersion for players and frustrating their attempts at progress. Many of these issues could be traced back to the game engine that they used and the specific modifications they had made to it. While modular, these...
Now, with all of this, like, preamble, my main question is, like, how does a patch... Like how does a patch mod, like, a bug fix mod, become extremely controversial? How does that even happen? I remember Bethesda did hire some modders. They're probably the best workers over there at Bethesda, because we all know that Bethesda doesn't do jack shit half the time. Hey, fair up to Starfield was the industry standard, ship a working game and then let people do what they want with it. Well, I mean, the thing is that usually it'll be a working game. Up until, like, the last, I'd say, like, maybe 5 to 7 years, it's ship out a game, maybe iron it out sometimes, and then just let the community fix it later.
Apparently, Hell Let Loose is getting a pseudo sequel that is Hell Let Loose Vietnam. Nice.
Of course, it takes place in Vietnam.
Well, I mean, like there's very rarely any good Vietnam games out there if you think about it.
The trees are speaking Vietnamese. Anyways.
Yeah.
These game
The only
engines
like
contain
good one.
persistent...
It's beautiful. It's Oblivion. It's Oblivion if I remember correctly. This is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely just world-class lovely.
Character creation systems in RPG games usually result in some of the greatest creations of all time. Key of which, just take a look at Skyrim and any game made by FromSoft.
Do you want to know? You want to hear something really fucking amazing and based?
Sure.
So you know Power World, right?
Uh-huh.
And how you can customize your character?
Yeah.
The people who made it, I don't remember where it was, but I distinctly remember an article or something where Pal World made the character creation system just so that way, quote, Western audiences can make weird shit, essentially.
You know what,
that's not the
based as
full,
fuck.
that's not the actual quote from what I remember, but I know that someone had said that.
Again, that's just based as fuck. I love that.
bugs that could be found across multiple of their titles, along with a bevy of new bugs each time, creating a familiar phenomenon known both pejoratively and affectionately as Bethesda jank. Kevin and Quarn had participated in and led bug-fixing mod efforts in the past for prior titles in the Elder Scrolls series, using the name Unofficial patch for each, and their knowledge and experience would prove useful in the creation of the unofficial Skyrim patch. Kevin promised, upon the release of Skyrim in 7 months, that 2 years of his modding efforts would be dedicated exclusively to working on the unofficial Skyrim patch. Despite the looming immensity of the project, he was optimistic, closing his post by stating, quote, "Curse my naive optimism, but I really do think that Skyrim will give us much less work to do than Oblivion did. Bethesda Softworks has a far larger team working on it, more eyes catch more mistakes, and has the benefit of experience from Oblivion. So let's hope for the best."
Something tells me that didn't age too well. Redguard, Oblivion, and Morrowind existed before they could before they could just patch, but Skyrim could have been patched within 6 months. They'll give you the point. Yeah.
End quote. His assessment would prove preposterously wrong.
Fucking hell! Wow, who could have guessed? Also, on the topic of Skyrim, it just reminded me of the fuck, what was it? Wow, I can't fucking talk. Oh man, I can't find the meme. It was like the, 6 years after the release of Skyrim, 5 years after the release of Skyrim, 4 years after the release of Skyrim.
On November 11th, 2011, Bethesda Game Studios released their highly anticipated game, The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim. Skyrim was lauded critically and performed extremely well financially, more so than any other of Bethesda's games before it. Oblivion, the previous game in the series, had sold 1.7 million copies in its first month, whereas Skyrim sold twice that number in only its first 2 days. But the...
That I actually didn't know. That is actually kind of impressive. And to be fair, I can kind of see why. I do, again, back when my PlayStation 3 still functioned, I have vivid memories of playing the living fuck out of both Fallout 3 and Skyrim, so...
breadth of bugs present in the game was immediately apparent, and these bugs were so ubiquitous that some became practically synonymous with the game, such as the ability for players to climb tall mountains by rapidly jumping against a cliff face, or the tendency for the giant variety of enemy to send other actors rocketing into the sky.
Beautiful.
I think
It's
if
the
I
best glitch
remember...
in the game.
I think if I remember, there was like a YouTuber or something like that that actually did like the math on like on like how much force would be required to do something like that for like a Giant's Club to slam downwards and send you straight into fucking space. And the conclusion was it would be enough force to vaporize the giant, you, and about half of Skyrim.
Hell yeah.
So,
I think if I'm thinking about it correctly, what actually ends up happening is that since the giant's hammer or club, technically speaking, is an object until it resets its animation, your entire body clips into the ground like in a split second, and it just goes pew.
I know, but it's just really funny to think that someone actually went out of their way, did the math, and the conclusion was, yeah, we basically have giants that could vaporize half of Skyrim with a single club smash.
Look, all you need to do and understand is that there is someone out there who made an entire website where people went to pay for women to fart on cakes. So people can do that. Do that effectively.
I think I would much rather
People
watch the
can
guy
do
do
anything.
math.
Exactly. It's one of those things where it's like, putting it into perspective, there's a lot of hyperfixations that people do. There's what's his name? Rainbow. He does GeoGuessr, and he can do it in like 30 seconds, like not even like half a millisecond of watching something, you can find out where he is.
Oh
It's
yeah, I know
insane.
about Rainbolt. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a video on him earlier, I think this year, where
finally
he
found the video that I was talking about.
14 years after the release of The Elder Scrolls V, 9 years after the release
It's
of
in,
The Elder
stream
Scrolls V,
discussion.
8 years after the release of The Elder Scrolls V, and 7 years after the announcement of The Elder Scrolls 6, Bethesda has finally released The Elder Scrolls 4.
What's it called? The story I covered of him, because it came across my feed, I'm like, ooh, this would make a really neat video, is that he found through... He found
Hello there,
through
Zenobia. You're new. Welcome.
He found through a picture a local pizza place, very like within several bits, and I've watched like an entire compilation of Rainbolt just figuring stuff out, where he's given out coordinates while someone was live on stream when they showed like a little bit of the horizon line. He's gone up against like 5 other people and no one was able to beat him, even getting close to the location. It's insane how people, like, when they get like their niche together, it's insane how people will do it, like go deep into it. It's a skill.
That is horrifying to think about.
While many of these bugs were amusing, they would often cause difficulties and frustrate or entirely block progress, and attention once again turned to the unofficial Skyrim patch.
Wait, hang on. I only just now fully
Any of enemy
processed
to
that.
set
Hang on.
That was amazing.
While many of these
I literally
Ooh, that's
often cause difficulties.
Look at that. Look at those textures, baby. That
Oh
looks
my
great.
god! What
That
the
looks amazing.
fuck?
That's working perfectly right there. I don't know what you're talking about. That's working absolutely fine.
Low poly working.
Good fucking grief. Yummers. It looks like fucking grits. It looks like sad grits.
I love low quality textures.
and frustrate or entirely block progress, and attention once again turned to the unofficial Skyrim patch, which many desperate PC players hoped would help ease the struggle with the game, many foregoing playing at all until it was ready. Those who inquired, however, were met with an unfortunate response. They would have to wait until the team had access to the modding tools from Bethesda, which would take another 3 months. However, while the means
Great.
to properly fix these
that's what
bugs
they
was
did.
not yet available, the community effort to diagnose and document them was now well underway. Members of the forums gathered to collect bugs that they encountered while playing and submit them to the unofficial
That's not
patch
a bug,
team,
that's a
who would
feature, I do
speculate
not
as to
care.
their cause. By the time the modding tools were made available, a long list was already prepared for the team to address. The announcement post for the unofficial patch attracted even more attention and built excitement, and the team of bug-fixing modders grew. The next 2 months were spent
Here we go.
attempting to fix as many bugs as possible, and finally, on April 6th, 2012, nearly 5 months after the release of the game, the unofficial Skyrim patch, or USKP as it had come to be known, was released. The list of remedied bugs was dizzyingly large and very...
Oh my
Hell yeah, baby. Wait,
that's
have
a
you
little
seen,
big.
Have you seen the patch notes for like Sims?
Oh, of course I've seen the fucking memes of the patch notes for Sims. That shit's
It's
funny.
so good. It's amazing.
Hang on.
Do we have time for this actually?
Hang on, how long is it? Let me find it. Oh, it's only like a minute long, so I mean we have
All right,
time.
let's check the patch notes for The Sims 3. Kleptomaniac Sims can no longer steal subway stations from lots.
Excuse me?
Hell yeah.
Sims can no longer woohoo in the elevator with a Sim who is on a different floor. The
What?
Grim Reaper will no longer be prevented from reaping souls due to band affiliation.
What the fuck does that even mean?
He's a band.
Sims now vomit at acceptable levels.
Huh?
The question that I have right now is, what's acceptable levels of vomit? And why, in my mind...
No, my real question is, what were the unacceptable levels?
That would be my follow-up question.
Was it like fucking Postal 2 level? Was that what they were dealing with?
I don't know. By the way, Postal 2 has reached a bunch of its stretch goals.
Oh, no shit.
To, like, make another game, I think.
Nice.
It is no longer possible to try for baby with...
Why are people trying to bang death?
Because, listen, there is a lot of people out there who have a very, 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 very... Grebs, very, very weird...
Listen, you made the joke, not me.
What joke? It's not a joke. It's just cold, hard facts that that there are specific rules that exist. I didn't say it, but you know what I'm talking about. Also, Grebs has very weird preferences.
It sounds like they shouldn't have patched it. This sounds like gold. I mean, true.
Entirely wrong. Oh, he just dies that laugh.
Become enemies with child!
I have that wish all the time.
Wish no longer appears. Sims who are on fire will no longer be forced to attend graduation before they can put themselves out. Pregnant Sims can no longer brawl. Baby Sims will no longer become stuck on a Sim's hand while driving a car.
While driving a car?
Excuse the fuck out of me?
Sims will no longer receive a wish to skinny dip with mummies. A meteor can hit a building, which case everyone will run out before the collision. Those who do not exit the building will die. Sims automatically leave if a meteor is approaching, unless it is a school in which children are not allowed to leave and always die.
No, that's just unfortunate. How do mummies skinny dip? Oh, wouldn't you like to know? Anyways.
Varied widely in scope, and even in this early implementation, modders were quick to add the USKP to their collection. Its immediate popularity only increased the number of people reporting bugs, further assisting the team in their goal. Its reach was assisted in no small part by the establishment and growing popularity of mod hubs, namely Nexus Mods and the newly released Steam Workshop, which...
This is like back in 2011. It is wild to think that like both Nexus mods and Steam are like both like more than 10 fucking years old. It makes me feel old. I feel like a fucking fossil thinking about that. Speaking of Steam, why is it telling me about the future games show? I don't care.
Offered centralized platforms for players to find and download mods on browsable and searchable databases, vastly increasing their accessibility. The process of installing a mod now was often as simple as pressing a single button. This, combined with the unintrusive and unambiguously positive impact of the mod, dramatically boosted the unofficial patch's usage, both within niche modding communities and a larger, yet less engaged modding public. But shortly after the release of the Skyrim Unofficial patch, Kevin, its organizer and distributor, disappeared.
Oh. That sounds right.
Other members of the team referenced a vague personal issue when questioned, but remained mum on any specifics, leaving other forum users to speculate. None of the team...
I keep on... The thing is that Amalgamated would not shut up about this Arthmore guy, so something tells me that this guy is going to become a very prominent figure throughout the rest of the story.
had access to the necessary files to continue the project without Kevin, and soon, as Skyrim received regular updates from the developers, the unofficial Skyrim patch no longer worked with the new, updated code, meaning that this patch meant to fix bugs was now breaking the game.
That's kind of ironic to think about. This bug fix mod is now causing more bugs.
Began to propose making a branch of the patch themselves to make it compatible. Finally, after several months of silence, one of the team members, Arthmore, made an announcement to the unofficial patch thread on the Bethesda forums that Kevin would be taking a leave of absence indefinitely, likely never to return, and that he now had control of the project, as well as the other unofficial patches that Kevin had produced for previous games. With Arthmore as the new steward of the project and manager of the team, updates could begin again. As months passed, more and more bugs were discovered, addressed, and eventually fixed.
I don't think that's... Something looks wrong here.
Why is the axe going through the newspaper?
I think that's supposed to be wood.
Why is it going through the wood?
Skyrim.
Yeah.
Skyrim, how it works, you know.
That's just how you carry wood in Skyrim.
Yeah.
By this network of modders, and over time, many other mods dedicated to fixing specific bugs could also be fixed by the USKP. And so, instead of downloading many different bug-fixing patches, most people opted simply to download the single USKP. To encourage players to forego other projects and rely solely on the unofficial patch, the team posted a list of bug-fixing mods made obsolete by their patch. The active team behind the USKP also meant that it was always kept up to date with the latest version of the game, meaning less concern over depreciation. Soon,
well, at least it's active. I don't know how to feel about them, you know, pointing out a whole bunch of other bug fix mods that are, like, depreciated exclusively by their own mod, but whatever. That's probably a topic for another day, to be completely honest.
Why do I feel like that is just foreshadowing?
Like, for me, it's just kind of giving, fuck, what was that one Starbound mod that basically, like, consumed every other fucking Starbound mod, and it's, like, the only mod that you're, like, ever going to download for fucking Starbound. I forgot which one that one is, but, it's giving me the vibe of that.
So...
Imagine you make a popular bug fix just for the massive unofficial patch to call you out as unnecessary. Frackin' Universe, that's what it was. That's what I was thinking of.
Soon, the unofficial Skyrim patch had become nearly ubiquitous among modders, and when someone new to the practice would ask which mods to download, the USKP would often be first among them. Its growing popularity had another effect. Because so many people were using it, many other mod authors began creating their mods with the assumption that their users would have the USKP as well, and so many modders added it as a dependency, meaning that their new mod would not function unless the USKP was installed as well.
Wait, hang on. I'm just now child-sized skeletons?
What? Huh?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but suddenly just the image of become enemies with child just popped into my head again.
Their mods with the assumption that their users would have the USKP as well, and so many modders added it as a dependency, meaning that their new mod would not function unless the USKP was installed as well. In this way, players who otherwise would not have downloaded the unofficial Skyrim patch or had no interest in it did so anyway, so that another mod that they wanted would function. But while Arthmore was getting affairs in order so that the team could continue work, another of his mods was beginning to receive scrutiny. On February 7th, 2012, Arthmore had released his Open Cities Skyrim mod, which removed the loading zones used to enter cities and instead made the cities a part of the contiguous overworld map. While a minority of players complained of frame rate and crashing issues, the majority seemed pleased with its effects. However, after an update to the mod in June, people who downloaded and used it noticed a peculiar addition. In the largest cities, demolished Oblivion gates had been added, a structure that featured heavily in the previous game in the Elder Scrolls series.
I'm not too well versed on the Skyrim lore, or the Elder Scrolls lore, but it wouldn't... I don't think it would make sense for Oblivion gates to to be in Skyrim, and also they don't really fit in with the surroundings. It looks like it was just ported in from from Oblivion and then just slapped into the middle of Skyrim. 200 years between the events of Skyrim and Oblivion. Yeah, that's a pretty big discrepancy. Oblivion gates are gates to hell, so unless the town's like hell, why would they settle around one? That is also true!
According to a write-up in the Something Awful forums from user Strong Female, quote, "These gates stand out because they're large and are placed in the middle of each city. They also look like shit and have terrible texture."
Okay, well, that one...
That's a little... Now,
that's a little bit of ad-libbing right there, but, you know...
Yeah, people might not have known that there were these. They were the Oblivion gates as of right now, because Oblivion did come out a while before Skyrim, and Skyrim was far popular than Oblivion. Not to say Oblivion was bad.
They don't even make sense from a lore perspective. End quote. At first, players were confused by their appearance. The post advertising the Open Cities mod on the forums made no mention of the gates, and given that many people downloaded and installed other mods as well, it wasn't clear which among them could have been causing this. When Arthmore's Open Cities mod was identified as the culprit, players began to express their frustration. In response to this quiet, unwanted addition, a member of the Something Awful forums going by Upmarket Mango decided to download the mod, remove the gates, and then re-upload it to the Steam workshop. When Arthmore discovered this re-upload, he was furious and took swift action, demanding...
Oh no.
Oh no.
Well...
Boy. We've seen this song and dance before, ladies and germs. Can I get some of the modders were gone into malware territory? Yes, we can.
Oh no. If that's where this is going, then
I don't think that that's where this is going, because
I think we know where this is about to go. I think we know where this is about to go.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to take it that far in terms of blacklisting people through the community thing, because that probably wouldn't be happening. But again, it's one of these things where I'll say this. At least he changed an aspect of the mod rather than just re-uploading it verbatim. Because that's all that he did, and it was like a patch. What I think that would have made it the situation, what I think that they could have done was not remove it completely, but make it so that way there was just a patch for the mod rather than re-uploading the whole mod.
I don't know why, but I just... speaking of mods, I just remembered, there's that one Terraria channel that I follow, and he also does, like, you know, kind of like pseudo mod reviews in, like, shorts. And this... I just have to show you guys this one, because this one just feels like a cry for help.
Evil kill mod.
Hang on.
Today I'm showing you the most evil Terraria mod. Kill everyone. It's an accessory that kill everyone. It even kill bunny and kill grass. Kill grass. Your friends will no longer provide a reasonable purpose to your existence. Slimes are no longer a threat. Your friends will beg for mercy. Ignore their pleas. Kill everyone.
It sounds like this is the start of, like, an ARG of some kind.
Even kill Bunny. I don't know why. Ever since this video, it has just been living in my head.
Pretty good.
I'm concerned for this guy because of this fucking video.
I'm showing you the most evil Terraria mod. Kill everyone.
Kill everyone.
Anyone.
Kill everyone.
And it's also what's also really funny about this is that, do you know what that picture is from?
I think it's from a SpongeBob episode, isn't it?
Yes. It's called The Magic Conch, and the entire premise of the frickin' episode is Squidward going insane while Patrick and SpongeBob listen to The Magic Conch.
The magic cock shell.
And it literally just says, do nothing, and they're like, all hail the Magic Conch. And it's...
Sending Tenna to your house.
It's an accessory that kill everyone. It even kill Bunny and kill Grass. Kill Grass.
This is a cry for help.
Why does it kill Grass? Coming! Alright, anyways, you gotta get back to this. As much as kill everyone is on my mind.
That, under the license agreements for the creation engine and the mod itself, this altered version of Open Cities was to be taken down in accordance with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, or DMCA, arguing that his content was being stolen and shared without his permission.
And
I don't think that's how that works.
Well, okay, so let's I'm gonna try to rationalize a little bit here. So, the DMCA usually does it where there is no modification to the actual code, or there is no modification to the actual content being used. For example, what I do, i.e. commentary, and what many commentary people do, is that we will interrupt, stop, talk, and give our own opinions about it, therefore creating things such as fair use, at least in terms of the American copyright system. Now, I don't know specifically where this comes from, but fair use does not exist everywhere, so it really depends on where the mod came from, as it would be beholden to local laws. But let's just say, for example, it came from America. The question would come up that if the original mod, right, has these gates in them, and they're all over Skyrim, and they all, are in places that, make it ugly, or something like that, and someone were to take all of that out, but re-upload the mod other than that, maybe making a couple other patches, the question would then becoming, is that enough to be counted as fair use, rather than a full-on copyright infringement? That would be the big question. You could prove, which would be very easy in a court of law to prove. It's yeah, these were in there, and while the original author had them in there, my mod does not, and you could make an argument for it. But it's a coin flip either way. So, not entirely wrong, but definitely morally wrong.
Yeah. The question would then be coming!
When Bethesda staff obliged and removed this modified re-upload, another modder named Andreas took it upon himself to try again, except by a different, more clever method. Rather than re-uploading the entire mod sans the gates, he instead offered a mod for Arthmore's mod, which he named Gatecrasher. This small file, when installed alongside Arthmore's Open Cities mod, would remove the Oblivion gates and leave the rest of the mod intact. In this case, he was not re-uploading
should have been done. Yeah, that's what I think should have been done originally.
I guess that's fair, but I'm assuming Arthmore was also not very happy with this one either.
We'll see.
Content,
Why
only a
was it
small
in the
file
video,
that
then?
altered Open Cities in much the same way that modders changed the base game of Skyrim. This angered Arthmore even further, and he again...
Fucking hell.
Why? That's my big question. Why the fuck did it do that? That's so confusing.
God only knows. But,
went to the community manager for Bethesda, demanding that Andreas's Gatecrasher mod be purged from their databases. Again, they obliged. Andreas, however, was not as acquiescent as upmarket Mango. Andreas would later claim that the senior community manager at Bethesda gave him permission to re-upload Gatecrasher to their hosting service, stating that it didn't violate their guidelines, since he wasn't re-uploading Arthmore's work, only uploading a file that would modify it, something that many
Yeah, that's the thing. It's it's not uploading the mod, much like the previous one where he just re-uploaded the mod sans the text that said turn the gates on. This was just one that says, hey, if the gates are on, turn them off. That's all that it does. And yet, they still took it down? That's bullshit. That is absolutely...
Yeah,
there was no grounds for that.
That's really fucking stupid. Sans! Not that kind of sans, Dan. Not the one that befriended your mother.
Yeah. No, but, that's, he even got permission. That's stupid. And again, other mods do, it isn't the other mods have dependencies on other stuff as well. The main unofficial patch for the Skyrim, that's being as a parent, I guess, or not really a parent, but that you need that in order to run other mods.
Yeah.
It's what the hell?
Mods already did in order to ensure compatibility with one another. With the decision made, Arthmore made his displeasure known. Writing in response to a post on the official Bethesda forums, he began railing against the practice of modifying other mods, stating, "I would consider any mod created for the sole purpose of sabotage and or destroying content in another mod as malicious software. I fail to see how it could be seen otherwise."
That's not true.
No.
Here's the thing. I think we went over this in during the Raven thing, where technically speaking, mods under most circumstances are illegal unless the provided copyright holder gives, say, explicit permission via mod tools as well as a few other methods. Usually it's not pursued in a court of law because, again, people don't really care, but it is technically illegal for most of the cases. Things such as re-uploading mods is also illegal under copyright and DMCA laws as we established before. However, modification of current existing code, existence in whatever fashion that is, and modification of that via your own code or via code that you alter to a significant degree that it is not, that it falls under fair use in terms of at least American stuff, has also been done in a court of law, which I think became the reason why emulation is legal. Right? I think that I'm getting that right.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
It was like Sony versus like an emulation company, and the emulation company was like emulating PlayStation games or something, and Sony tried to sue them, and then they lost, because like Sony lost specifically because they said like this is falling under it because it's just emulating the hardware that exists concurrently. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Not important, but like again, it just so. The modification of one's code via another person's original code is not bad. This you know what this is reminding me of, actually?
Yeah.
This is reminding me of Team Kill Media. If that name does not ring true to anyone, Team Kill Media was the one that made Quantum Error, which was the very stupidly dumb a PlayStation game where they, on their public Twitter, their public company Twitter, I should say, they said that the reason that they did not want to make a PC port is because, quote, PC people are making gooner mods of shit. And also, quote, we do not feel that it is the right of them to destroy our work. Same logic.
Yeah,
so,
that's fucking dumb.
He also attacked the character of said creators by stating that,
like, I'm not a fan of Gooner mods either, but I'm not gonna like rail against people for making them or having them.
I know, absolutely. But it's more of like the second bit that I was gonna be thinking of is that like we don't want them destroying it because like we don't want them destroying the righteous good of our art, and it's like they're just modifying your art and they're already inspired by it. Like it's the same. That's like saying, hey, don't recreate the Mona Lisa. All right, you're ruining the fucking art of the Mona Lisa. It's like no, that's not the point.
Yeah.
That's like...
You can't separate the mentality of those who want to freely rip each other off from the type of person who would exploit such a loophole such as this in order to skirt existing rules on the subject.
Always about
They're
ripping
one and the
people
same
off.
in my experience. In another post in the same thread, he appealed to the community's moral framework, writing, "Have we as a community so lost touch with our core principles that we're given actual serious thought to enabling the deliberate, targeted sabotage of another's work?" However, none of his philosophy...
Again... How is it targeted sabotage? It's a mod. By definition, it's optional. If some goofball still wants the Oblivion Gates, they don't have to install the mod. They're not coming onto your team and fucking over your mod. That would be deliberate sabotage, you fucking moron!
I have no...
Was this man in fucking middle school when he was working on this? Jesus Christ.
Philosophizing changed the reality that some users of the Open Cities mod simply disliked Arthmore's extraneous addition of the Oblivion Gates, and removing these dead gates from the mod was no different to them than making changes to the base game of Skyrim. With Gatecrasher approved, and with no recourse, Arthmore felt forced to capitulate. Making an edit to the main thread for the Open Cities mod, he included a new section at the bottom. Why are there dead Oblivion Gates in the cities now? In it, he spent multiple paragraphs defending his decision to include them.
Nice. Because that's what people need, an essay on the decision to include a part of the entire system that is wholly unnecessary.
What the hell?
Citing lore and discussing authorial intent on the part of Bethesda, as well as invoking real-life memorials to battles in the American Civil War and World War II.
Also, I feel like I should mention, bringing up from earlier, someone mentioned earlier, Oblivion gates are basically gates to hell. What city is going to build their city? What city is going to build themselves around a gate to literal hell?
Even if it's just like recreations of them for like memorialization purposes, why?
Yeah, what would be the fucking point?
Can you read some of these? Look, I'm actually interested in some of his quotes here. We don't have to read the whole thing. We can just read a couple of them.
Let's see here. Martin pulls the Akatosh avatar bit at the end of The Elder Scrolls 4. Whatever gates are standing open would have had their dimensional bridge abruptly severed, and I believe that would result in the physical manifestation remaining behind, since it was not properly shut down. Uh-huh? I don't think... I'm not... Again, I'm not too well versed in Elder Scrolls lore, but I don't think that's how that works.
No, so here's what I think he's trying to explain. So, it's kind of like, I don't know if you know about like Minecraft logic, of how when you break a nether portal, the obsidian is still there. Normally in most fantasy style settings, whenever you break a portal, even if the portal itself is physical, the sheer force of the portal closing usually vacuums up anything nearby. So that would include anything that happens to be point blank in the actual thing. If the item is still technically standing at the end, maybe, but like that would inquire a different portal entirely, kind of like Stargate or something like that. But that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I feel like it would collapse, and especially over 200 years, that shit is made out of rock. So even if it was still standing, while rocks can exist for like 200 years, there would be enough erosion there to like someone would just like knock that shit over. And also, yeah.
Yeah, and at the very best, it probably wouldn't be in the shape that they at least look like in, you know, fucking open cities. But you know,
there ought to be various.
Again, I'm not a geologist, but I just feel like the math is not mathing here, and none of it makes sense.
Yeah. Hold on. 200. Okay, no. He addresses this. The third paragraph. 200 years isn't long. Bullshit. It's not. Although for dead stone to crumble into nothing. Maybe. I mean, it depends, because it like there's more than just erosion that could have done it. There's dragons around. The city itself could have been burned to the ground. A dragon could have landed on it very easily in those 200 years. Because again, we're dealing in a fantasy setting, so a lot of that shit can happen. What else is there? Oh yeah, if someone like just decided to blow that shit up for whatever reason, because it's still just rock. That's my thing. It's like, not just for erosion's sake, but for the general sake of wear and tear damage, right?
Yeah.
Even here on Earth, war beyond... What the fuck does that... I can't read that next paragraph.
World War II Memorial at Pearl Harbor, where they left the sunken ships in the harbor and turned it into a national monument. I mean...
But that's metal. Which is different, and it's also underwater. Like, the Titanic is still a thing underwater, even after all the time, because of the pressure of the water.
Like, just... I don't know. None of it makes sense.
It's bullshit excuses.
Pearl Harbor and Iwo Jima. He closed his argument by fighting back against those who believed that the inclusion of the gates was beyond the scope of the mod. Writing,
okay, hold on.
Quote,
so,
arguments of...
Oh, no, let him speak. Let him take, actually. I'm gonna read this anyway.
Of it being feature creep don't fly either. These gates add a touch of uniqueness to the mod, and pay what I believe is an homage to the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion as one of the best games of its time. They are not active portals, and nor are they eyesores. They're not even in your way. Still not happy? Thomas Kyra has created a patch to remove the gates. His is the only authorized patch. Any others have been produced without permission and are likely to have game-killing bugs in them. End quote. Over time...
Wow, way to be a fucking bitch towards the end.
Yeah, and I also love that kind of backhanded compliment to it. It's like, it's the only authorized bug fix. Like, what? You don't get to make that authorization, especially if the person is using original code, like
But
established
also,
before.
Let's also point out, they're not active portals, nor are they eyesores. Look, there's a reason why people didn't like them. It's because they were fucking eyesores.
Also, again, while yes, artistic intention, and I love artistic intention for the win, fuck NFTs, but, you know, it's just dumb that you did that, because it was an unnecessary mod, because wasn't the whole mod about not loading cities, that you could just walk into the town gate without encountering a loading screen or something?
Yeah.
I don't even know what the mod's for specifically, but I think
that's basically what it was.
So then why include that in the first place?
Because
also,
fuck you, that's why.
Also, the thing is, like, if I were to do that, I were to include, like, a little Easter egg for something that I'd put it somewhere out of the way where you could just encounter it in the wild. Like, if I wanted to include an Oblivion
not in the
gate.
middle of a fucking city.
Nah, I'd probably put it at, like, the entrance to a specific dungeon. Oh no, maybe I'd make it into an entire Easter egg dungeon. That'd be fucking cool, though, thinking about that.
That would
That'd
be
neat.
interesting. Probably still wouldn't fit into the lore, but it would be interesting.
Well, I would fit it into the lore somehow, being like, even after 200 years, they missed one. Like, that's simple, but explains why there's an Oblivion Gate there.
Yeah. But yeah, just wow.
Time, this event would be given a name. Gate, a reference.
I'm gonna kill myself.
How many
water gates?
Nice.
Gate.
But did you hear what it's a reference to?
I know, it's a reference to fucking Watergate. I get it.
It's also very weird how there is multiple different, like, movements of negativity where a person fucks over their entire, like, public image or something, and they've all been named Gate for some reason, right? That's weird how that's repeated. Like, there's Watergate, there's Gate, then there's Gamergate, then there's Ocean Gate.
Well, Ocean Gate is.
Well, it fucked over. It
fucked over a few billionaires. But let's be honest here, they're billionaires. I don't care.
Yeah, but like, that's still really weird. I think that might be an SCP. Like, the word gate might be an SCP for some reason. Much
no,
like how...
the suffix of gate is the SCP.
Yes, the gate suffix is an SCP. Someone write that down. But it's like...
It's like the Chris Chan medallion. The moment that's attached to something, it's just a controversy.
Yes. What's the SCP that's like...
what the fuck is this?
Probably the self-secret? I don't think that's right. Nice.
What the fuck is this?
I love Alex's... It's just Gordon being Gordon, you know?
It's good to see you, Alex. Gordon, lousy motherfucker. Get your dork ass down to the test chamber, so shove the sample up your ass.
I do love how Alex is just like, Alex is like, I'm so sick of this shit. He's been on my head for an hour.
It's like, you're supposed to be playing catch with dog. What are you doing?
Anyway.
Sigurd Stormhand, who recalled the incident many years later, quote, "The reason Arthmore dug his heels in was, as much as anything, because some users said some extremely offensive things about the gate meshes themselves, which were made for the project by a friend." End quote. While uncorroborated, a user on the RP...
Hold on, no. No. Like, you're not Van Gogh. You're not going to cut your ear off because people are criticizing your work, alright? Don't do that.
Yeah.
It's bad. Take criticism on the chin as much as anything else. If you can't do that, you get into the fanboy mentality, and we've already established, at least on my channel, fanboy mentality is both toxic and stupid.
Biag.
Also,
Codex forums would...
As a fun aside, I just remembered, Helldivers 2 is getting a Halo ODST DLC.
Interesting.
Which is really funny because Helldivers 2 is a Sony property and Halo is a Xbox property. So you could assume that all of the fanboys are absolutely shitting and cumming their pants with how much, like, shit there is in this thing. And it's hilarious.
It's awesome.
It's amazing.
As a result of this disagreement, quote, "Arthmore's personal website got hammered for days with goatsy, gore, and other horrible things."
Oh no. The consequences of my actions.
Oh no! It's the
I mean,
consequences of my
I don't.
actions.
I mean, I mean, I don't stand behind people sending that kind of stuff. Jesus Christ.
Neither do I. This is
Despite
a
the
joke, ladies
relatively
and
small
gentlemen.
size of this controversy,
It's also
it
a
set a
joke.
precedent that Arthmore felt justified making additions to the game to better suit his vision by surreptitiously bundling features with mods that had other overtly stated purposes. And those who disagreed with this vision were not only wrong for attempting to change it, but a threat to the very foundation of modding itself. The desires of the user were secondary to the creative integrity of the mod author's intention, and this, naturally, included Arthmore himself.
If you want to include random shit and other quests and things in the game, don't put them in mods that are meant to be quality of life. There's a reason why there are modding sections and why people search up specific mods to make sure that they're getting what they want when they have mods, right?
Yeah,
if I'm
like,
looking
hang
for
on,
a weapon, I do not want armor.
Let me pull out, like, an example here.
I have several examples that I'm thinking of off the top of my head immediately.
Well, I'm gonna use an example then I'm at least so familiar with, because, you know, I play Terraria, play modded Terraria. I have a couple of quality of life mods that I use. Let's see here. Like...
Old Fargo's Mutant mod.
Yeah, Fargo's Mutant mod. That's a pretty good quality of life one. Now, I'd be pretty annoyed if Fargo's Mutant mod was for some reason like if Fargo's Mutant mod and Fargo's Souls mod were like for some reason combined into like one mod, but it was just called Fargo's Mutant mod and it didn't mention anything about all the other shit, so it's just like a really massive mod for no fucking reason whatsoever. That would be fucking annoying. I'd rather just have the mutant without the Souls stuff attached to it. If I want the Souls stuff, then sure, I'll add that in as like a separate thing, which is why they're separate things, and I appreciate that.
All I can imagine is just someone like coming across Eternity mode in...
They just download Fargo's Mutant, and it's just like, what's Eternity mode? Why am I dying? But yeah, that would be kind of like along that same vein. It would be just like really annoying and very unnecessary, and it's just kind of like it would be fine if someone created like a mod that went like, hey, you know, here's Fargo's Mutant mod, but it's just the mutants without the Souls shit, and you know, it's like an optional thing. But thankfully, you don't have to do that. They're just two separate mods inherently, which is good.
Himself. Now, Arthmore was in charge of the unofficial Skyrim patch, the largest bug-fixing project for Skyrim, and with more and more mods adding it as a dependency, it was becoming harder and harder for modders to omit it, though few had much reason to do so, given its utility. The team behind the USKP had just been handed immense power within the community, with modders grateful for the massive undertaking and service that the unofficial patch team was providing, and public sentiment strongly in their favor. The momentum of the patch was nigh impossible to stop, and more, the modding community was reliant upon the choices and goodwill of the unofficial patch team.
I like how all of this, this is very unrelated, but all of this footage right here was just some guy trying his damnedest to put a pot over someone's head.
While ominous music plays.
It's amazing.
It's genius. It's definitely a way to do it. Anyway.
The friction between players and the team would begin early into the unofficial Skyrim patch's lifetime. On September 3rd, 2012, 5 months after the launch of the patch, a forum user wrote in response to the patch's thread expressing their distaste for a specific change that the USKP made to the initial 3 Guardian Stones. These Guardian Stones, found near the beginning of the game, act as guides for new players. Only 1 stone's boon may be chosen at a time, and adopting one increases the speed at which the character gains experience for a family of skills, encouraging them into one of 3 modes of play. The Warrior Stone boosted the growth of melee combat skills, while the Mage Stone and Thief Stone did the same for magic and stealth-related skills, respectively.
Okay, wait. Let's make predictions here as to what they're going to complain about. My initial one is that they made it so that way you can accept up to accept all 3 of them.
I'm gonna guess that they probably, for some reason, added in like additional stones.
That's a good one. Anyone else have any guesses?
Also, I might change the stream title. Maybe we'll do diary tomorrow. Let's just.
Anyone else have any guesses? Magenta?
Eh?
You have a guess as to what people are complaining about with this one?
Maybe making them completely unavailable. I don't know too much about Skyrim Roller. I've just been playing Terraria and beat my first Blood Moon on my newest world.
Very nice.
There we go. I've updated the title of the stream. Everyone have fun with that.
Okay. Biscuit, you got anything? Sky?
No.
All right. So the prediction is they made them unavailable. You can pick 3 of them, or what was yours? They added more?
They added like maybe 1 or 2 additional ones for some reason.
All right. Let's see this.
This helped give new players unfamiliar with role-playing games a set of clear playstyles that they could follow. Arthmore and his team, however, had made a minor change to these stones. Observing the way that skills were grouped in other places in the game, and citing the official strategy guide, they had decided to move the archery skill from the Thief Stone to the Warrior Stone. According to
Well, I guess none of us are right.
They moved the archery skill from the Thief Stone to the Warrior Stone.
That's a little weird.
I mean, that's strange, but that's not, like, awful.
Yeah, but why would that... But the question, the obvious, hang up here comes from the fact that this is in a like, bug fix mod.
True. But, again, like, that's... and again, I don't even know how the person found out about this, right? Like, how would you go about, like, unless you had, like, 3 different saves to, like, test this, how would you go about doing that? Yeah. Also, I think I know the reason as to why they did it. Do you want me to explain?
Sure, hit me.
The good old stealth archery build that's in every Bethesda game, where if you fucking max your stealth, you can literally assassinate entire platoons of people without ever once leaving stealth. And the archery build can literally, if you land your shots correctly, will kill anything like below your level, like effectively. And it's like, and to some people, that playstyle of the stealth archery build is awful in their brain, because it's like, that's not how you're supposed to play this game. You're supposed to play it like by aggressively getting into a big ass like fucking brawl with shit. It's like,
well, how about instead I play the game however the fuck I want because it's a fucking RPG.
Exactly, and you're not affecting anyone else's like problem with that. The only at least I will say this, at least they moved it to what I would assume to be a kind of appropriate stone. Because the other one, I think, is like, what, the Sorcery Stone? It's like, why the fuck would you move it to the Sorcery Stone? That makes no sense. But, like, at least in terms of believability, I can see why they moved it to the Warrior Stone.
This just reminded me of
It's supposed to be a fucking RPG. What role am I playing? The fucking victim? Jesus fucking Christ!
Excellent.
I love this clip so much.
It's such a good.
It's supposed to be a fucking RPG. What role am I playing? The fucking victim? Jesus.
All right, let's continue.
Average Rykard fight.
Official patch team members, this change was the subject of heavy internal debate. While a relatively small change overall, it inspired significant frustration from a small group of people who felt that this was overreach on the part of the USKP team. One of the few people to speak up about it wrote that while they were happy with the patch.
I agree. It is a little bit of an overreach.
Again, like I mentioned before, it's like weird for a patch mod.
Yeah.
To
like there's a time and a place for little surprises like that. Like, you know, when you find a chicken nugget in your McDonald's fries, your Wendy's fries, like you find an extra chicken nugget, hell yeah. But when I find like a dog turd on my front porch, like that's not a good surprise. Know what I mean? Did they just leave the room?
Anyways.
Why did you leave the room?
Oh, I was just checking on something. Anyways.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But like my example before is like, if I find a nice chicken nugget in my fries, like that's really delicious. That's good. That's a good surprise. But when I find like a dog turd on my front porch that's on fire, like that's an awful surprise, you know?
Yeah.
Patch as a whole, quote, "I'm only looking for bug fixes, not told how I am supposed to play the game." To which Arthmore replied, "And that's what you got, a bug fix." This highlighted an inherent problem with bug fixing projects such as the USKP. There is no public consensus on what precisely a bug is or how to identify one, and what one person might consider an undesirable bug could be an enjoyable feature for another player. Some bugs are easy to identify, such as those that hard crash a game or completely lock progress, but others are not so clearly defined. In order to resolve this tension, Arthmore wrote a frequently asked questions section for the AFK Mods website, which became the primary hub for discussion of the unofficial patch, and he opened this post with a definition. Quote, "A bug is defined for our purposes as a defect in the game that can be factually proven to be broken. This can be anything from a quest that won't advance a stage when it should, to a typo in a book, and pretty much everything in between. Some judgment is used for issues that are more cosmetic than functional, such as the lack of heat blurs on smelters and forges. The game will obviously function just fine without those, but they constitute unrealistic visual presentation." End quote. But this definition still left many ambiguities, and for many bugs, one vitally important aspect is the intention of the developers. A fix for a hard crash is almost universally positive, as most developers don't wish for their programs to do so, but what denotes a bug is not always so clear, and this problem was exemplified by the Guardian Stones. While the Thief Stone purported to provide bonuses to the stealth category of skill, it is the only place in the game where archery is included in that category, with 3 other quests that defined archery as a combat skill, and so, one natural conclusion is that its categorization as a stealth skill was an error, an argument that was used to dismiss the frustrated critics.
That...
It's like getting into like semantics at that point, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, again, it's like the mod. It's like what I said before with the whole taking down the re-uploaded mod thing, right?
Yeah.
Where with the one where he just re-uploaded the whole mod, just sans the actual like Oblivion gates. There is a case that can be made both ways, and that evidence is actually kind of solid with like combat skill versus like non, and then like that's the only place, if that's the only place where it's defined as a stealth skill, like that depends, and it's strange. But again, I think that it was meant to emphasize the stealth bow playstyle to give the stealth players like a ranged option. You know, because I think if you're taking, well, maybe, well, because archery also includes crossbows. I do kind of wonder.
Again, it's kind of getting into semantics at that point.
I am kind of wondering. The way that I think I would have done it is, if I saw this as a bug, I would still leave it the way that it is, but I would include archery in the combat thing as well, like both.
Yeah.
Right? Because like, again, there can be cases made for both ways, but I wouldn't want to like fully just completely destroy one particular playstyle, because I'm the kind of guy that's like, my stealth, I love stealth sometimes in particular instances, but like, I don't know. Again, it's case. It's weird. Anyway, moving on.
However, this addition could also have been an attempt by the developers to complement a stealth archer style of play, popular in games such as Skyrim, where the player attempts to quietly pick off individual enemies from a group without being spotted, using ranged attacks to stay hidden. Notably, as of the writing of this video, the vanilla game still includes the boost to the archery skill with the Thief Stone boon nearly 14 years after Skyrim's release, though Bethesda has allowed many bugs to remain in Skyrim during this time, and so its continued presence is far from conclusive evidence of intent. While Arthmore had cited the official strategy guide as evidence, they are notoriously unreliable and often contain incorrect information due to simple...
Yeah, and also, let's be honest here, who the fuck gives a shit about a strategy guide?
Again, the way that I would have personally gone about this is I would have not messed with the stealth one. I would have just included that archery skill under the combat one as well. I know that Bethesda did this specifically for like balance purposes to make sure that your choices kind of mattered. But since you're modifying the game anyway, including that as a little bit of a bonus to be like, hey, if you want to be a warrior with a bow, go right ahead.
Yeah.
So.
Error, or because the copy for the book was finalized before the game's code, making them poor evidence of intent, something that Arthmore would even later admit. Whatever the developer's intention, the USKP team was now placing themselves as its final arbiters, and a vocal contingent of players disagreed not only with their interpretations, but that fundamentally, changes to gameplay such as this were outside the scope of a bug-fixing patch. But by the end of the year, the USKP team would be making more aggressive changes to the game. The first...
Oh. Well, let's see how bad it gets.
Was at a particular location called Red Belly Mine, which was ostensibly an iron mine overrun by large spiders which the player could clear for the local villagers. However, despite the villagers referring to it as an iron mine, the mine was filled with ebony ore instead, a much more valuable material. Like the Guardian Stone changes, there was significant disagreement around how to proceed. Daydreamer, a frequent contributor and vocal poster on the forums, and another contributor named Sia Levy argued vehemently that the Red Belly Mine should be changed. The former argued that, quote, "The developers screwed up. Even printed literature says this is an iron mine. The local Radiant quest requires an iron ore. Making the mist red should be a no-brainer." End quote. Arthmore, the new leader of the project, agreed that the mine was most likely intended to be an iron mine and was later changed in error during development, but disagreed with making any changes with the unofficial patch, stating,
That's a little... but whatever.
quote, "There's no good alternative either way, because one option means splicing audio. The other option means altering the entire mine to provide iron, get rid of the bodies that aren't supposed to be there, and concoct some sort of red mist effect. Plus, editing part of the village exterior to replace the loose ore there, too. Both options are highly intrusive, though I have to think the audio splicing would actually be less of an issue in the long run."
Says the
Eventually, he
one
concluded,
who literally edited the Guardian Stones.
I mean, it's...
Again, the thing is that, like, it says that it's one thing. If it says that it's one
Not
thing,
that,
it means another
not
thing.
that kind of red mist, Dan! Not that kind of red mist!
I don't know. That one's not as cut and dry as the whole other one, because the other one I would still say you can make a case, but it's like a flimsy case at best. This one actually has a more solid case, but like lore versus gameplay, and there might be an in-universe reason as to why. I don't know. It also might be for balancing purposes. We don't fucking know, because I don't know, man.
It's a lot of wackiness.
going to close this one out, as fixing it would unnecessarily deprive the game of a source of ebony, and the rest of this stuff could just as easily have changed after the spiders got there. End quote.
True.
But Sia Levy was adamant. Quote, "I strongly disagree with closing this. Every piece of information says this should be an iron mine. Convenience for access to ebony is not a good reason to dismiss it. That's essentially an exploit." End quote. Under the pressure from Sia Levy and Daydreamer, Arthmore acquiesced, and so they made a series of changes based on the in-game dialogue and context clues from the game. Pointing to the discussions between the villagers, the fact that the miners buy iron ore, the dialogue about a red mist in the mine, which can be a product of improperly mined iron, and the nearby mine with the same number of ore nodes, which could have been a point of confusion for poorly coordinated developers, the team set about replacing all of the ebony ore veins with iron ore instead, and to replace this lost ebony, the iron ore in a separate mine was replaced with ebony. This, however, wasn't enough for the team. While the in-game dialogue discussed a red mist in the Red Belly mine, any such mist was lacking in the mine itself, instead featuring only the normal white mist that could be found in other locations. And so, in order to be satisfied that the mine had been fixed, the USKP team adjusted the coloration of the mist texture using modding tools to make it more red, though this took numerous iterations in order for them to be satisfied. But soon, the team would extend their remedies from adjusting in-game assets to creating new assets wholesale. Near the beginning of the main quest line of Skyrim, the player fights their first dragon, named Mirmulnir, with the help of the guards from a nearby city. If played in English, subtitles will appear for Mirmulnir, but no actual voice lines can be heard, unlike other dragons who appear in the story. After investigating, the team discovered that, while the game's code called for a voice line to play when these subtitles appeared, no audio file actually existed in the game. Notably...
Oh, well, that's,
That's just Bethesda jank right there. That's clearly a bug.
that is That's a classic Bethesda moment right there.
Localized versions of Skyrim included voice acting for these lines in their respective languages, and only the English version lacked these audio files. Still, without any files, there was nothing for the USKP team to restore. Rather than simply remove these orphan subtitles or leave them as they were, the team behind the unofficial patch decided on a different option. They had a member of the community record a custom voice line for the dragon and added it to the mod, giving Mirmulnir the affect of a wheezing old man.
That doesn't sound threatening.
Really?
No.
I'm old!
As additions to the unofficial patch began to accumulate, and as more new players began to enter the modding scene encouraged by the unprecedented success of Skyrim, a rift began to grow between those who played the game without mods and those who played with the USKP. Given the impracticality of reading the ever-bloating changelog, very few modders were aware of the breadth of changes made by the unofficial patch, and given its description as a purely bug-fixing project, most assumed that, apart from the other mods they were using, they were having the same experience as the vanilla players. Because so few people had the knowledge base to tell the difference, there was little opportunity for the unofficial patch's reputation to be harmed, if not because of their relatively small impact on the game, then due to ignorance. This broad perspective on what constituted a bug was illustrated in part by a post made by Arthmore to the AFK Mods forums in July of 2014, in which the team listed the numerous other mods that helped, as they described it, fix the game experience. In this list, they included a mod called SkyUI, which sought to offer a menu system more accommodating to players who used a mouse and keyboard. Arthmore wrote, perhaps half in jest, that it was, quote, a PC-centric reworking of the major components of the game interface. Yes, we do in fact consider this to be within the realm of bug fixing, because the vanilla PC interface is simply not designed with actual PCs in mind.
Alright, I guess.
Honestly, that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, they actually do have a point there.
That's fair. You know, fixing the UI to make it better for PC. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
End quote. The next few years progressed uneventfully for the unofficial patch team as they gradually fixed bugs and made small changes to the game, members coming and going.
Fopses.
What?
Fop.
Oh.
As availability and interest waxed and waned. But as this time passed, the public perception of the mod continued to change. While the team publicly asserted that they made decisions as a group, the mod was uploaded to the most popular databases under Arthmore's name, and near the end of 2013, the Bethesda forum threads for the USKP stopped crediting any other contributors, meaning that the only person whose name was outwardly attached to the mod was the person who was posting the threads. Arthmore. Finding any further attributions required further research into the AFK forums or the README files of the mod, something that scarce few were bothered to do. Gradually, the name Arthmore became synonymous.
What, hi there, Rhino. What'd you miss?
I'm old.
Basically, certain mods that say they do, like, one thing, and they do that thing, but they also come with, like, an extra thing that nobody fucking asked for.
Yeah.
With the unofficial Skyrim patch, and the USKP became known as Arthmore's mod. What's more, Arthmore's frustration with the general modding community was beginning to show more and more. Arthmore had a habit of engaging in frequent discussion in forums, arguing over semantics and correcting those who accused his mods of causing issues while dismissing them for their lack of aptitude. Frequently, he would refuse to offer any correction, opting only to inform the user that they were wrong, having long become fed up with supplying explanations to one person only for another person to ask the same questions or demonstrate the same misconceptions later. This was a sentiment shared by many other mod authors. It is common for mod users to encounter problems with a new mod and, rather than using available resources, immediately beseech the creator for a solution, resulting in the same questions repeatedly asked and blame improperly assigned by frustrated modders. This results in mod authors growing jaded toward their own user base, some more than others. But Arthmore's...
Considering his history, I do not like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I gotta go. I have things to do. I might be back, I might not. Bye.
See ya.
combativeness only increased as the years passed, and by the end of 2013, his frustration with the user base was shaping decisions about the unofficial patch. For example, when they noticed that the haggling skill wasn't providing quite as large of a discount as they expected, the USKP team adjusted the numbers and sent the patch live. However, soon afterward, an astute, mathematically inclined user went to the USKP forums to reveal that, while unintuitive, the vanilla mathematics were indeed correct, since the skill described the effect as making the prices better as opposed to cheaper, meaning that, rather than reducing the price by the percentage given, it allowed the player to purchase more of a good for the same price. The bug fix had accidentally introduced a new bug, rather than fixing one, though relatively.
Well, I mean, you know what? That is also fair. Someone comes in and says, wait, hang on. That's also not correct. The game says this, and that's exactly what it fucking does. And then apparently again, it's another case of irony. The bug fix actually causes even more bugs. Only now notice the buckshot music? Oh yeah. Love general release.
Minor. Arthmore, however, refused to revert the change on the basis that, quote, I can predict with absolute certainty that it will simply be reported again if we undo this. The whole convoluted logic of it defies common understanding because nobody I know thinks 15% better results in a $100 item costing $87. They expect that to result in a $100 item costing $85. End quote. Despite pushback from other forum users, Arthmore would offer no further reply, apparently choosing to keep the changes in the patch. As the years passed, the USKP team would grow more comfortable with the idea of adding their own new content to remedy issues. In late
Bug fixes mod looks inside bugs. Yeah.
2014, one astute member of the team noticed that an in-game book outlining the holds in Skyrim was missing a hold, and so he wrote new text to complete the book, text that was included in the next iteration of the unofficial patch. Gradually, the scope of the USKP was growing beyond that which most assumed it to be. But Arthmore's frustration would grow in concert with the importance of his modding efforts to the community. When Kevin left in 2013, Arthmore had accepted control of the unofficial Morrowind and Oblivion patches as well as the Skyrim patch. But in November of 2015, Bethesda released Fallout 4, and Arthmore would begin overseeing another unofficial patch project for this game as well,
Fallout, fuck you first.
Releasing in April of 2016, further increasing his influence. As their boldness increased, the importance of authorial intent was beginning to shift. For example, in the base game, a unique weapon called the Ebony Blade is unable to be improved, but the unofficial patch team decided in 2015 to make it possible to upgrade it, citing a loading screen tooltip that noted, any weapon or piece of armor can be improved at a smithy. In response to someone's thread on the AFK mods forums complaining about the change, Arthmore wrote, quote, nonsensical or not, our decisions are generally not based on tales from a potential work of fiction in universe. There is overriding external info given to the person at the keyboard that things were supposed to work a certain way, and no exceptions were provided for in that information.
That's not true.
Yeah,
See,
this is just...
Go on.
No, I'm just gonna let it speak for itself. At that point, just let him dig his own grave. Let's just see what happens.
That's true.
If you can produce more than just that book that corroborates the intent, we'll consider it. End quote. However, despite their adamants, 2 years later, this change was reverted. Responding to another person making a post to the same forums complaining about the reversion, Arthmore dismissed them by saying, quote, get a mod that handles this then because the decision was reviewed and decided for reversion after reading up on the lore.
You didn't care about it before, did you? Try, you didn't give a shit about the lore when you had it in the fucking Oblivion gates. Oh, Jesus.
But that's that's artistic intention, sir. That's the difference.
About to artistic and tit your nuts in a few seconds.
arguing the load screen is that the book in the room with the blade is quite clear, which means the game is speaking to the issue directly instead of a generic load screen that could be interpreted numerous ways. We do not consider load screens to be primary sources of lore, especially when they're of the type that explain game mechanics such as this. We are not going to change it again. The lore sources are correct, and a lot more people consider those to be important to maintain. Our decision has been made, and we're sticking to it.
Here's the thing, though. While yes, in a lot of ways, games have upgrading systems, because this is all about, like, what, upgrading one particular gun that couldn't be upgraded? There are plenty of examples of guns and things that could not be upgraded, at least even in just Fallout 4, where they're already at their maximum potential in terms of,
well, obviously
like, being
in Skyrim,
able to
this
use.
was a sword, but yeah.
I think we're talking about Fallout in this context.
No, we're still talking about fucking Skyrim. This is the Ebony Blade thing.
Okay.
And if I remember correctly, like, the thing with the Ebony Blade is that you couldn't upgrade it, technically speaking, through, like, regular means. You had to upgrade it through acts of betrayal, which was the interesting thing about it.
Yeah. And again, this is not the only, like, gun, like, weapon that does that. Like, have you ever heard of what was it, Skippy from, or a lot of the weapons in Cyberpunk where you had to upgrade them in very strange ways? Skippy is the only one that I can think of where you can choose between two modes at the start, but after you get like 50 kills with it, it then switches to the other mode permanently.
Yeah. But, yeah, like, that. But yeah, the thing is that, like, if I remember correctly, again, I used to play the fuck out of Skyrim. If I remember correctly, I didn't even get the Ebony Blade through, like, the normal method. I just got it through, like, a bug that I randomly stumbled across at some point, like, on YouTube or something like that. I decided to copy it, and I just got the Ebony Blade for free because, you know, it was a funny health steal weapon. But, like, you could upgrade its health steal through Acts of Betrayal, but that's the thing with, like, the Daedric artifact weapons and stuff like that, is that they're basically cursed objects. Like, yes, they give you some benefits, but they come at a very hefty cost. Like, with the Ebony Blade, you can only really get to its full potential by fucking over other people. Or for, like, I think there was, like, a piece of armor or something like that, they could only get by literally killing off, like, sacrificing, like, one of the first companion NPCs that you get in the entire game. And that's basically how they worked, and you know that's just kind of how they worked, and you know they weren't supposed to be like regular items that you would just either come across or create throughout the game. They were supposed to be effectively cursed relics, and that's basically what they are.
To it. The lore is clear, what we've done is consistent with it, and that's pretty much that. We are...
Again, I feel like I should just mention, he didn't give a fuck about the lore before! Why is he like... Why... Like, Jesus Christ!
Not responsible for the condition of things in the lore. Bethesda is. If you think this needs changing, lobby them to change it. We are not going to. End quote. This ambiguity of purpose, whether the mod was in service to authorial intent or lore, would only continue to plague further changes. The team was also keen to add new assets, such as higher resolution textures to replace others, despite falling well outside the purview of bug fixing. These are only a handful of the changes with which some people took
Well,
that one's a little bit of a gray area in my opinion, but whatever.
Yeah, because like high resolution textures usually resulted for texture packs in terms of modding stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me, I need to feed the dog.
What?
No, I'm home alone this week, so I have to feed the dog every day.
No, I mean, like, how did high-resolution textures remind you that you needed...
No, the dog barked in the background. You just didn't hear it.
Ah. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Umbrage, and they would continue to accumulate as time passed. Over the next few years, the unofficial Skyrim patch would continue to become a staple of Skyrim modding, and while a remastered version of Skyrim was in production, named Skyrim Special Edition, the unofficial patch team would be given early access, along with a small cadre of other modders and content creators, so that they could make an updated patch available upon this new version's release, which would occur in late October of 2016. Shortly after release, Arthmore would be interviewed as a mod creator by the game studio, though little substantive information would be discussed, mostly acting as a way for Bethesda to advertise the mods from Arthmore that would be available for Skyrim Special Edition.
It's good marketing.
I mean, it is good marketing, but I also feel like this probably might have boosted Mr. Arthmore's ego a little bit.
That's probably what happened.
Importantly, it acted as an endorsement of the work of Arthmore and, by extension, the unofficial patch. With this new updated version, the patch would take on the new name of Unofficial Skyrim Special Edition Patch, or U.S.S. But just as the unofficial patch was reaching levels of recognition scarcely rivaled by any mod before it, Arthmore would finally begin damaging his reputation so thoroughly that the modding community would begin to turn on him, and by extension, the unofficial patch project.
Oh no, another developer somehow destroying their own public image through acts of, like, easily avoidable betrayal of their character due to actually, you know, being an egotistical, narcissistic maniac. Who could have seen that coming? Oh, wait.
It's a day ending in Y, isn't it?
By the way, if you couldn't tell what I was referencing the good old, I used to work at Blizzard for 7 years.
A year after the release of Skyrim Special Edition, another version of the game for virtual reality headsets was made available.
Hell yeah.
Once again, the fact that VR is this old is making me feel old, and I hate that.
Correct. Also, what's also really funny is it kept the glitch where you get shot into space.
Awesome.
And you can...
You know what? Hang on. I now have to find out who's the fucking... Hang on. I now have to find out who did the fucking math on the Skyrim Giant launch. Hang on, I gotta... It was Shoddy Cast! That's 8 years ago?!
Jesus Christ.
That was 8 years ago?!
Alright, I am gonna go and quickly... well, first what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna... Let's see here, but I need to go and feed the dog before it starts eating its own leg or something. Which you probably won't do. I gave it a little treat earlier, so it should be fine.
Fair enough. We'll probably get through, like, another, I don't know, give or take 5-7 minutes more of this, and then we'll probably just round off the stream. Because, wow, today fucking wore me out. I'm having fun I'm having fun taking a look at this, because this is something that, again, kind of harkens back to, you know, a little key part of my, life in the past, if you will. Namely Skyrim. But, you know, it's nice to kind of look through this. I'll probably look through the rest of it on my own time, because it's actually kind of interesting to just hear about, like, a fucking mod that just decided to go really far because it changed leadership, and the leadership that it changed to was someone who's clinically fucking insane.
Simply called Skyrim VR. Though there was no official modding support, modders were quick to make a minor change to the unofficial patch to make it compatible, and to their great relief, it largely worked, meaning that other mods which were dependent upon it could be made compatible as well. Over the next year, the small but dedicated Skyrim VR modding community grew. But in April of 2018, the unofficial patch team pushed update 4.1.3 to their distribution hubs, and when Skyrim VR players downloaded and installed the update, they discovered that this version was breaking some functionality with the game. In most other...
Well, that can't be good.
It's not.
How the hell would that even happen? I guess we're gonna find out, but I'm just really curious as to how that could...
I will say this. The fact that the entirety, right, of the AI for Aliens Colonial Aliens Colonial
Wanna try that again?
The entire AI system for Aliens Colonial Marines, the video game, was fucked over by one typo in one line of code, which is a thing. You can look this up. Someone found it. Proves that coding is not exactly easy all the time. Especially, and that was by the way, made by a professional studio that had poured over that shit for hours. So.
That is true. I think I heard about that, like, a long time ago, and it always just of, like... It blew me away when I first heard about that, because it was just simply like, wait, so you're telling me that the AI was fucking stupid because somebody misspelled something in the code?
Yes. It's always made me laugh.
God, that is just fucking hilarious.
For instances, this would only be a minor problem, as modders could simply download an older, compatible version of the patch, but when modders who had installed the update went searching for an old version to solve the issue, they were faced with a roadblock. The unofficial patch team had a policy to always remove the old version of the patch when a new one was made available.
Why?
Yeah, why? That's kind of fucking dumb. Why?
Yeah. I don't know if anyone else does this, but for me, whenever I'm working on, say, a project because I do 3D modeling and stuff, I always have at least a backup to around 3 degrees, 3 to 4 degrees of backup. What I mean by this is that whenever I save, I have one master file that is the main file that I'm editing at that point. But then I create at least backups up to 3 to 4 steps behind what I'm currently working on. That way, if I fuck up on one thing, accidentally save it to the master file, I can then go into one of those backups and then redo that step to try to figure out what I did wrong.
Yeah, that's fair. I should probably try to start doing something similar to that one, but whatever. I just mainly do, like, video editing anyway, so it's not like I have to worry.
Well, I mean, I don't do it for video editing too much, because I usually just save it to whatever. In fact, I have, like, folders upon folders of stuff, and I only really delete the footage that I've already used and then re-up the same like project folder for whatever reason, because I usually just use the same thing all the time. But saving to 3 degrees is always good, because again, I'm talking in terms of 3D modeling, so
right.
Different filing systems for different other stuff. Anyways,
back to this.
This practice was uncommon among mod authors, especially those whose mods are
even the
used as a
practice itself is
dependency,
uncommon.
because new versions can break other mods reliant upon it. As such, the decision to bar modders from accessing older versions was generally seen as a harmful, if not antisocial, practice, especially given the collaborative nature of modding, but the team continued this practice anyways, ostensibly to prevent complaints from people using an older version of the patch, though the team members have also stated that this was the wish of Kevin when Arthmore inherited the project. The unofficial patch team was aware of the problems that this would cause the VR modding community, but Arthmore was unsympathetic in a public statement, writing,
Now let's see here. Arthmore ego got really hurt when Nexus included the archive thing for wow, that is hurting my brain trying to read that, for the collection system, which this is mentioned later in the video. Jesus. So, listen, not to be mean, Amalgamated, but sometimes trying to read your messages is like trying to decode an ancient text. It's like I'm an archaeologist trying to understand the Dead Sea Scrolls half the time, like, holy fuck.
quote, Bethesda has made it clear that the VR versions of the game do not support the use of mods. As a result, this mod will not be supported for anyone attempting to use it on a VR version of the game. Take note that even if Bethesda later changes their mind on this,
don't worry,
VR
I get it,
equipment...
Amalgamated, it's fine. But also, wait, hang on. So, basically what they're saying is that they are removing the patch support for VR just because Bethesda said, well, I mean, it's not supposed to be compatible with mods. It's kind of a fucking stupid reason.
Pretty dumb reason, actually.
That's really dumb.
It is too expensive to justify the purchase just for the sake of making sure the mod works with it. Please do not ask about this subject in the comments, as all such comments from this point forward will be deleted. End quote. The helpfulness of the unofficial patch had generally shielded it from criticism, but now, one of its practices was actively harming an entire category of modders, and enough mods used it as a dependency that removing it would also mean removing a number of other mods along with it. Several posts were made to the Skyrim VR subreddit to open discussion around this problem, and Arthmore quickly arrived to enter into dialogue with the users there, though his tone was far from diplomatic. He wrote, quote, "We aren't going to give a rat's ass about VR users trying to shoehorn in something that clearly won't work just because you guys are set in stone on ignoring the facts here. The only dickwad move was expecting someone wouldn't tell me people are being jerks behind my back like this."
Wonderful diplomatic solution right there. Insult your player base. It always works in the amount of time that we've seen it.
Yeah, it always
Which
works.
is-
Unless it
yeah.
doesn't.
Which it doesn't work 99.999999999% of the time. And the only other 0.1% are the extremely dedicated fans that say, it'll get better. No, it won't.
Cock off Destiny, but anyways. Bro rolled a nat 1!
No, oh, no. He rolled a nat 1 with a -2 on charisma.
Yeah, exactly. That shit just failed. Hard failed. Critical failure. Roll up a new character sheet.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You're going to jail.
End quote. Responding to Arthmore, one Reddit user named Tyrandor2 wrote, quote, "We aren't being jerks, nor are we choosing to talk behind your back. You forced us to talk here instead of your Nexus page. You've stickied a message saying you will delete any comments regarding VR. For the record, many people have been using U.S.S EP and hundreds of other mods with Skyrim VR without issues.
Oh, wait. I think I got a bingo. Let me see. Egotistical dev. Okay. We got censorship on the mod page. Excellent. Has a previous long-standing history of doing stuff in the community. Excellent. Is in charge of a number of mods, therefore increasing his actual egotism. Has been on a number of other things, and fuck! All we're missing is the pedo allegations. Shit!
I hope... I just hope that it doesn't suddenly come to that.
I was so close to a bingo, goddammit!
Damn it! Well, time to get a new bingo card.
Be a logical thing that clearly won't work. End quote. Another reply from the same user implies that Arthmore called VR modders spoiled entitled brats, though the original...
Wow!
Projection of the fucking
okay,
censor right
dickhead! People just want to play fucking mods, dude!
Yeah, and again, it's like self-entitled brats, like, you're doing this for free, and they, like, you know, have, like, people are able to criticize. Jesus Christ.
It's just fucking God. Wow.
Original quote is now lost. With few options available, Tyrandor made another post discussing this issue while also providing a link to a Google cache of the old patch version so that people who had installed the update could revert the change and continue playing Skyrim VR modded.
Tyrandor over here.
How hard was that?
Tyrandor over here is a fucking goat going like, oh yeah, holy shit, I have a previous functioning version, here you go. Have fun.
Nice.
Karen mom type mentality.
Correct.
Not wrong. Not fucking wrong.
Without losing dozens of hours of progress. This enraged Arthmore, who wrote, quote, "So you guys are so fucking hard up to push this that you'll resort to piracy now?"
What? That's not what piracy is!
Really not.
Hang on. I just...
In fact, I actually think that is... It's not piracy on the thing of... It's creating a copy of a previous version that is no longer available, so you would be able to call it archival purposes, which therefore still falls under fair use, by the by.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. It's archival, not piracy. Again, this reminded me of the certain edgy bird that I made a whole retrospective on, that apparently couldn't understand the difference.
Correct.
You are single-handedly doing a severe disservice to the entire VR community by resorting to illegal activities to try and force our hand. For fuck...
It's not illegal. We've previously...
Again, yeah, no, it's... What the fuck? I feel like this man just doesn't know what words mean.
Sake, if I knew what your Nexus account was, I'd have you reported for stealing mods there. End quote. Around the time of this
Stealing?
Stealing mods?
It's not stealing.
Every single word of that was wrong. Not a singular syllable had any ounce of, like, correctness within it at all. If I could probably count the amount of correct things on 0 fingers within that entire statement. Every single
Hold on.
fucking breath of what was read was incorrect to the highest degree. So much so that I wouldn't even need Harvard to fucking explain how wrong that was. I could get a 10-year-old and they could understand it better.
I believe this is correct. Hold on. Here it is. Here it is. No. I got this. Hold on. Come on. Gotta send it. Got it.
But needless to say...
No, this one.
Hang on, what is this?
I just sent you the clip.
Oh my god, yes. This is pretty similar, except in significantly less words.
Correct.
Mr. Madison, what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Okay, that simple wrong would have done just fine, but
you remain one.
Yeah. That's essentially what happened.
That's precisely how I feel. I'm just like, none of what you said is correct.
Yeah,
do not pass go, do not collect $200, head straight to jail, and never come out.
Argument,
Chat,
perhaps
put him in the
even
hole.
while it was taking place, Arthur
Mods.
turned to the terms of use.
Mods, turn his balls into a pretzel.
For the unofficial patch and added new definitions specifically targeting VR users. Before, unmodified
Wait, hang on, and let me back up. Hang on, there was just so much. I was too caught up on the fact that he apparently thought that stealing mods is a thing.
Argument, perhaps even while it was taking place, Arthmore turned to the terms of use for the unofficial patch.
Hold on. Let's be clear here. There is such a thing as stealing mods. Like, that is 100% a theft thing. It's just that in this particular instance, that was not happening. It was done for archival purposes, which falls under fair use. There is a very distinct difference.
Also, wait, hang on. Let's also look at this. You may upload unmodified versions of the patch to any website of your choosing. A previous patch is, technically speaking, or actually just literally speaking, an unmodified version of the patch.
Pretty much. So long as you didn't add or remove anything specifically from it.
Yeah, and the thing is that, well, they aren't. They're using a version of the patch that was created by the fucking developer. It's just a previous version.
Correct.
By his own fucking words, they're not doing anything wrong. He's just pissed off that somebody's going like, yeah, here's a functioning version of the patch.
Again, this is also for anyone who does like file sharing systems or for like systems in general, having a backup of a previous version that worked is always going to be necessary because you could break things very easily in terms of computer such. So, just saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so insane.
Definitions specifically targeting VR users. Before, unmodified versions of the mod were allowed to be re-uploaded by others on different platforms, as long as documentation and attribution were maintained, but now he restricted usage. Part of it reading, distribution for the intent of using it on an incompatible platform such as Skyrim VR is strictly forbidden.
So I decided to retroactively add in a rule that basically said fuck VR users.
Like, okay, here's the thing. I get that some people will be like, oh, well, it's not sufficiently supported, they can do that. It's like, yeah, you can do that. But the thing is that while, yes, in the context of this, it is technically illegal that it doesn't support mods, because there is no, like, modding support or EULA that a person has to sign in order to create the mods, because that then falls under copyright law and blah, blah, blah. But when you're doing it to, like, just spite a specific subset of people, aka the sun is leaking.
The sun is leaking.
That's bad.
The sun is leaking. The sun is leaking. The sun is leaking. The sun is leaking.
Like, right, we can all agree that that's just we can all agree that that's just like bad, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Having done so, he continued arguing with users on the subreddit, hurling curses at them while accusing them of piracy. At some point, the page to download the patch was taken offline as well, barring anyone, VR user or otherwise, from downloading it. However, suddenly, in the middle of this argument, Arthmore made a turn and apologized and restored the patch's availability after only a short time offline. Though the...
I wonder why.
So, after, you know, after he did that, and after it got nuked because of his stupidity, he's just like, oh, well, okay, you know what, never mind, maybe that was a bad idea. Real convenient timing, you know, real convenient.
Where was that revelation before?
Exactly. What a surprise horse gif.
Yeah, wait, where was that? I just thought of this insult. Where was that revelation before, Socrates?
Is lost, other members of the forum seemed taken aback by his apology and commended him for it. Soon, the unofficial patch team would endorse a new mod that made the patch compatible with VR, and those asking on the subreddit would be guided to this mod, as well as an archived version of the unofficial patch, though discussion about VR was still banned and heavily moderated on the U.S.S Nexus page, with any post about it purged. News of this conflict disseminated gradually throughout the general Bethesda modding community, and by the time the next controversy occurred, many were ready to turn on Arthmore should the unofficial patch team misstep again, and that misstep would come less than a year later, when his
Brilliant!
Nice.
Bro couldn't even wait a year before going like, you know, I'm gonna stick my dick in something else today.
Combative attitude would finally find him in lasting trouble. In February of 2019, a user on the Skyrim mods subreddit made a post titled, "Does anyone else hate how the unofficial bug patch adds features and not just bug fixes?" The contents consisted of 2 sentences. Quote, "I use it, but I wish it didn't add things like another set of Archmage armor, changing stats and so on. It's just not the job of the patch to do so." End quote. The top comments on this post were populated with modders having a discussion around the complexities of defining a bug and solutions for those who wanted to revert certain changes, while farther down, many could be found
This is probably going to be one of those things where even back in the day of the olden times, this was more of a less defined feature. I think in now, right, when everyone's having like very specific categorizations of stuff, a bug is an unintentioned feature for a specific thing, and usually a bug should not add or remove features in terms, or a bug patch mod specifically should not add or remove features.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Like, if a mod is stated as doing a specific thing, but it does something that isn't listed in the description, or isn't implied within the mod's description or title, then what the fuck?
Yeah.
dismissing the person who made this post as misinformed, while others espoused their support for the mod, some more inflammatory than others. One well-received comment described Arthmore's posting history. Quote, I sometimes wish the unofficial patch would take a more conservative approach about what it considers a bug, but it's impossible to have a rational discussion about these things with Arthmore without it turning into a flame war. As you can see from his posts in this thread, he takes any criticism of the unofficial patch very personally and immediately goes on the offensive, accusing you of lying, lacking skills, having some sort of agenda, etc. Life is too short to have to deal with that, so I just edit out anything I don't like myself. End quote. Another user replied, quote, I'm on the fence about this, because while he does go overboard sometimes, okay, a lot, he and the other contributors have put literal years into the thing, so being annoyed by misinformation is understandable. On the other hand, there's the trend toward behavior that's easily described as volcanic. End quote. As the first reply in the chain suggested, Arthmore had indeed already arrived to the post, replying to comments to defend changes made in the unofficial patch. Though as had come to be expected, he had little interest in containing his anger against these commenters, frequently calling them liars among other pejoratives. Among the commenters was a user going by Opus Class,
there's that
a mod
unchecked ego
author.
again.
It just keeps happening.
Oh,
it
yeah.
just keeps happening.
Always. This is why people,
Responsible
whenever
for
we're
public-
saying stay humble, everybody. You know, helps.
Exactly.
Publishing the Diverse Dragons collection, which adds a variety of unique dragons to Skyrim. After stating that they themselves used the unofficial patch due to the wide array of bugs that it fixed, they revealed that they had to adjust a table changed by the patch, a change with which they disagreed. They explained that, quote, I understand the reason why they added it, but it's not a very well thought out reason, and when I've tried to discuss it with Arthmore, he goes all scorched earth, I am holier than thou. End quote. Arthmore, however, took umbrage with Opus Glass's recounting of events. Deigning to reply, he wrote, quote, and just when was this supposed to have happened? Because I think you're just making it up based on what you thought you had done at some point. Not one person has ever brought this up to us in any way once the fix was put in place. Make a proper argument in the proper place, this sub is not the proper place, and we'll consider it. Until that happens, though, we're going to assume you're just wrong about this and leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm sure that mentality will really carry you far, huh?
End quote.
Every
When
time.
Opus Glass insisted that the conversation had indeed occurred, and Arthmore insisted that it hadn't, the former found a link to the conversation in question to prove it. Arthmore, however, remained indignant. He
Even when evidence presented itself, it still is not good enough.
Just straight up hitting him with a, this you?
Exactly. Unchecked ego at its finest, ladies and germs.
He seemed unwilling to acknowledge that, indeed, someone had discussed this issue with him, and instead began to focus on the fact that Opus Glass had used a different account for the conversation, accusing them of using a sock puppet account. This back and forth continued for some time.
And while possible, I don't really know.
With many of Arthmore's replies purged by the moderators before they could be archived, but whatever he said, it was aggressive enough to invite rebuke, and before the conversation could conclude, Arthmore was banned from the Skyrim mods subreddit, one of the
So we might not know what he said, but we can imply a lot from just the context clues of this shit. Impressive.
So he gets fucking nuked from the Skyrim subreddit, or the Skyrim mod subreddit.
And nothing of value was lost.
The crazy part is that it just still... It keeps going! There's still like an entire fucking hour left!
Jesus Christ, seriously?
Yeah.
Damn. How the fuck long is this? Alright, can we skip to let's get to the last chapter actually.
Actually, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to encourage everyone that's watching here to watch the rest of this on your own time, just like I'm going to do. Because right now it's like 5 in the afternoon, I'm feeling a little drowsy. Because again, long shift, combined with the fact that I'm literally watching a video about a man eating himself alive with his own ego, but this time happening in fucking Skyrim mods of all things. So I am going to call it here, actually. But anyways, with that being said, thank you guys so much for dropping by. Thank you to my wonderful guests here for enhancing the experience, as always. And I will see you guys whenever I see you. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.